Hello and welcome to Auto Arcadia. I'm one of the hosts, Colin Wood, and with me, as always, is.
Thomas Hope, the other host. Hi, Colin. How are you this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm enjoying life. I nearly died by an oven chip before, but apart from that,
Yeah,
I'm
that
good.
was an intense story. I'm glad you're not dead.
Yeah, so am I. Funnily enough. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really, really good as well. I'm looking forward to talking about something this evening. A little
Ooh,
bit, not so much cars, but very much in that sphere. Because I like F1. This weekend, I watched the Spa F1, and now Spa, love Spa. Spa's a fantastic track.
yep. No arguments here. It's iconic.
Absolutely. And it was set for a bit of rain, which sometimes can make quite interesting races in F1. It mixes things up. There's a lot of different strategy. You have to make judgment calls. It can get good, it can get interesting. Problem is they delayed the start by quite a lot because of the rain until it wasn't so rainy. So they kind of removed the interestingness of like, oh, will it rain in 10 minutes and who's going to switch to what tire and stuff. And then on
Yeah.
top of that, the other problem is kind of with the cars in F1 at the moment. And it does affect a lot of circuits and a lot of like the nice historic circuits, which is something I want to talk about today. But they just can't overtake. Like there was a huge problem with the sprint race on Friday, which is a 15 lap of Spa, right? So it's not really a very long race. So it's a single tire compound. It's an all out and out race. And there was maybe 5 overtakes in the whole race.
Really?
One of which was for the lead, which happened on the first lap, and then was never challenged again. If you know what I mean, like it's this was also a problem in the main race. Is there was actually not really that much overtaking, and I think it was mentioned by one of the commentators at some point. Is they reckon you need a 1.5 second tire delta to even think about making an overtake at Spa in these modern F1 cars.
Right.
1.5 seconds a lap delta is pretty big.
Yeah, that's. I mean, in motorsport terms, that's like light crosses the galaxy faster. Like that's literally what you're talking here. Like, how often is a Formula One race decided by hundredths or less of a second?
Qualifying certainly is. Like a lot of the cars are relatively close together on ultimate pace.
Yeah,
It's like there is situations where people may be on a 1.5 second tire delta, but that tends to be like where they're on different strategies completely, not where they're like kind of on the same strategy and they're fighting for like a particular position like first, you know?
yeah. It's not because they're trying to accomplish the same thing. In short, like it's really because they've almost got two separate missions.
Exactly, yeah, they're on different races
Yeah,
in many ways. So yeah, no, that made me start to think. It's like I love Spa. I think Spa is a fantastic circuit, and I honestly would love to see F1 consistently at Spa. But like, there's just kind of is F1 not really suitable for historic racetracks anymore? Was kind of what I started to think, and then I was like, well, that's kind of F1's problem, isn't it? Because like these historic racetracks are actually great, and then that kind of got me thinking about racetracks in general and like which ones are iconic and which ones kind of suck. And that's what I really want to talk about today with you. I'm really curious to hear your opinion on this.
cool. I actually have a theory slash hypothesis that I've just came up with, but I'm not going to say anything about it until the end.
Okay, fair. I mean, typically you state your hypothesis at the start, but
Well, no,
we'll do a
because
mystery reveal later on.
it's a mystery reveal, but we kind of have to do all this groundwork before it'll make sense when I ask it.
Okay. Well, fair enough. So, racetracks. And I thought a great place to start is let's talk a little bit about some of the icons. And, like, I can pass to you, like, what are iconic tracks to you?
Oh, so it's like places where you've had like amazing battles, you know?
Oh, so ones that have like history of great
Yeah.
races.
And also ones that my personal view on this is you need some elevation change to have a truly fantastic circuit,
Okay.
which is why like I love Spa, I love Nürburgring. I'm really keen on like Lasarfa,
Okay.
despite the fact that it's actually quite flat.
There is some elevation change in that. Not a great deal, but there is a little bit. I actually don't like that track.
No?
No, I like I actually like the bit that's part of the Le Mans track, but it's where it diverges. I don't like that set of corners. It feels I don't know, I just don't like them particularly. I'm not a huge fan of the really long sweeping right hander where the track diverges from the is it the Mulsanne straight?
Yes.
Yeah, where it diverges from there. You know, it's like a weird right hander that tightens right at the end.
Yes, I know exactly the one you're on
Not
about.
really a huge fan of that. And then it's basically just like a two kind of like straight lines. No, it's like a bunch of straight lines into like 90-degree corners, like squared off like U turns.
Yes.
And for me, not really that interested in those that particular set of corners doesn't really do it for me. Like I don't find them particularly interesting. I think that's really important for me on a racetrack. Is like the corner is like not just a square.
Yeah. Which it gives me quite a big problem with a certain racetrack. And I think I've beefed about this before, but yeah. No, I get that because like you need to have like really what you're wanting, you need a stage upon which the pantomime of performance can then be performed. And some of them do it better. Like Suzuka, for example. I can't really talk to like F1 or anything on it, but like the GT racing in Japan and the Time Attack series, like genuinely some absolutely electric racing going on at Suzuka. And it's like a 59-second lap for the really fast cars. Like it's less than a minute to complete a lap of it. And it's like, it's electric.
I've got to say, unfortunately, Suzuka is another track which I would personally say is absolutely iconic and is a fantastic track that's really suffered in F1. It's the cars. It's difficult to overtake there, and I think in a way that's because the track itself is so technical and challenging, and there is a lot of like sections. There's
Yeah.
very little kind of like recalibration straights, if you know what I mean, where there's like a little bit of like downtime.
Yeah, you're on it all the time. Like,
Exactly, exactly. And they always describe these tracks as like, oh, the drivers love them. And it's like, I can totally see why the drivers love them because I bet they're really engaging and like flowing and rewarding to drive. But racing on them in the current F1 cars is becoming more problematic. It's becoming like a follow the leader procession. It's becoming very much about qualifying in the first lap.
yeah. That's well. I mean, if you have a track where it's difficult to overtake, it very much becomes what your starting position is.
Absolutely. I mean, we can talk about one of the worst tracks of all time for F1, Monaco.
Yeah, there's some issues there. I mean, back in the day,
There's so many issues with Monaco.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't for the money in Monaco, would the track be there though?
God, absolutely not. If there wasn't for the history
Yeah.
and the money, then no, we
Yeah.
would not be racing at Monaco.
And there's one that I need to like when I'm on about like iconic races. There's one that like the R32 Skyline just made itself at Mount Panorama in Australia.
Yeah,
Like that's like you've got Ford versus Holden. Well, used to before Holden ceased to exist. Ford versus Chevrolet. No, I can't say that. The Australians will kill me. It's Ford versus Holden.
yeah. And
But like,
Volvo competed.
yeah. But like the big one, the standout for me there is the R32 GTR in like the I don't know what the name of the race series is. It could be GT racing, but I believe
Is
it's
it not V8
whatever.
supercars?
No, it's whatever the equivalent of touring cars is in that part of the world. I don't know if it's Tonka. I don't think it is actually. Although Tonka's world touring cars, but I'm not sure. But the battle there with the R32 GTR, where it just came and dominated, like that's like absolute history. And then like Nurburgring, where you had Hunt and what's his name?
Lauda?
Hunt and Lauda, yeah. Like that's for me is what makes it iconic. The history and the just everything about it. When you go and you almost get the hairs and stand up on the back of your neck, and you're like, this is a place where
I
amazing things have happened.
I do actually understand what you mean. I think that is actually a great point. Like that history and that like heritage is quite important for racetracks. But I wouldn't personally say that's the most important thing for me. I I think for me racetracks, the ones I really like, the ones I gravitate towards, are the ones that just work with the land to create what shape that they are. Not ones that necessarily deliberately reshape or cut through the ground. Like no, the worst racetrack is the one where they've just got a big flat square and they've built a flat racetrack on it using right angles, using sharp angles. Like that's my idea of hell. Like I really like a racetrack where the road, it might narrow, it might widen, it like undulates, it like follows, like it wraps around thing like natural obstacles. It just kind of like follows the slope of the land. Yeah, tidy it up and like you can grade it a little bit, like, but not ultimately not changing the fact that the surroundings inform the track rather than the track imposing itself on its surroundings.
Yeah, that's really cool because all the ones that I would be like are phenomenal tracks all conform to that as well. Like Seika with the corkscrew,
Yeah, yeah, I love that track so much.
Nurburgring with just everything about it.
Yeah, yeah, with it basically just being a ring road.
Yeah. Then you've got like Sebring, which although it's quite flat,
It's very flat.
it's very flat. It's actually an old airfield part of it. That's why it's got that square concrete shit.
Yeah, yeah, the concrete slabs.
But it conforms, like it works.
I I'm okay with Sebring. I'm okay. I'm not a huge fan of it though, to be honest. Like actually I'm not a massive fan of well, there's some American racetracks I like. I really like Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah,
Really like Road Atlanta. Big fan of Road Atlanta.
yeah,
And I like Sonoma Raceway as well.
fair enough.
But Daytona and Indianapolis, even with their infield sections, I'm not as sure about. I think I prefer Daytona to Indianapolis.
Yeah, but like here you've got because they're primarily oval tracks.
Yes, I'm kind of talking about like their infield part oval layouts.
Yeah, the actual interesting layout.
Yeah, yeah, where there's more to do than just go round,
I
round and round in
apologize.
circles.
Yeah, I apologize to the NASCAR fans, but it's just turning left all the time is not interesting.
I don't. I've watched NASCAR like live. There's a lot of downtime.
It's really interesting racing then.
Yeah, real interesting race. I mean, it gives you plenty of time to eat and chat.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, no. Um, yeah, man, I can't disagree with that. Like, I think really the cut of what you're saying is that if they're well designed, they're going to work with what they have. Like, there's no such thing as a challenge like that. Like, if you're trying to build a racetrack, you don't want it to be flat. If you've got a big ass hill, you're not going to avoid the hill. You're going to go over the hill.
Mm.
You know, you're going to try and work with what has been given to you. And the
You'd
elevation.
think so, wouldn't you?
Well, you would hope so, but I know there's exceptions to the rule. Like,
I think
yeah,
this is a great opportunity to have a look at two different racetrack designers.
Okay.
So, two kind of quite different mentalities. And I think first we'll go to the first guy who came along, who was a Dutch guy called John Hugh Holtz, who was kind of like he's into racing, if you know what I mean. He was like an amateur motorbike racer. I can't remember. I should really have written down whether he trained as an engineer. I think he did, but his real passion was racing, and he designed Suzuka. So like,
Really?
kind of smashed it out of the park with that one. To be honest, like Suzuka hasn't really changed overly that much since it was kind of created as well. So nice.
Yeah. Like Suzuka's been one that's been pretty steadfast.
Yeah, they've changed a few things in it, but yeah, definitely, it's like retained a good amount of its shape for a long time. And he also did. I don't know how familiar you are with Hockenheim.
I know it through the medium of Forza Motorsports.
So you've been round Hockenheim basically, albeit digitally.
Yeah.
Right, cool. So you know the stadium section of that,
Yes.
and it's like it's in all of the circuits, and it's got those really, really lovely, like such beautiful corners if you get them right. In which is the sweeping circle left into like the kind of slight kink right, and then the kind of really open rights, which are right, which are 90 degrees like square, but I do quite like them into the finishing straight.
Yes.
And like that's one of my absolute favorite sections. He designed that bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the man knows what he's doing.
I would say the man knows what he's doing. Yeah, totally. He absolutely knows what he's doing. And one of his kind of like one of the kind of big things he does is he doesn't necessarily fight the land. And
Yeah.
also, a lot of these tracks, I think honestly, it's almost like why a redesign with a racetrack is easier than building a new one from scratch.
Okay.
Because when you've got that, well, maybe for me, because when you've got something there, it's easy to start seeing where improvements could be made or where like things could be changed to like change the track. But when you've got a totally blank canvas, sometimes I can imagine it's quite hard to like visualize in your head how a lot of these corners will flow together.
Yeah.
I suppose now you would just simulate it, wouldn't you? You just create renders and simulate that to no end.
Yeah, but I reckon there's probably a correlation between people who create a good racetrack or a good redesign and people who actually enjoy driving themselves. Because you could put that in a computer and be like, make it really efficient. You could absolutely maximize your speed through it. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the most efficient would just be a circle, would it not? And I'm sure that would be thrilling to watch cars race around for, say, 200 to 500 laps.
Precisely.
Sorry, I'm totally having to go on NASCAR in this, but for absolutely no reason, other than I find quite a lot of their tracks uninteresting.
I did pick up on the NASCAR thing, and I was like, oh, that's going to be the theme of today. We've done a really fun DSSTs.
Decided to take on NASCAR.
Yep, we're going after the Deep South and all the
I thought of something very funny to say, but I can't say it on something that gets broadcast.
Will I have to cut it?
It would get cut anyways, so it's not bother. So, our boy John, great example of a track designer. Good guy. We like John.
Yeah.
Contrast that to our, I suppose, villain of the episode, in a way.
Okay.
It's a man named Herman Tilke. Or Tilke. I think it's Tilke, but I'm not 100% sure. And he's a German guy. He was a touring car driver, and then I think it was after his racing career, or maybe like during it or before it or whatever. But he got a degree in civil engineering, and he set up a business to design and build racetracks, of which there are surprisingly quite a few if you go on Google.
Yeah,
Like, there's a lot of places out there that'll build you a racetrack.
fair enough. Yeah.
If you've ever got a field, several fields.
Do you know, not to hijack, but just since you brought it up, this is a dream of mine, right? And one of the reasons why I want to go self-employed is I want to make enough to buy a farm with all the associated land and put in for planning to make a racetrack on all that land.
That is a beautiful dream. I think you're going to need more than just the land for the racetrack. I think you're going to need a good amount of land around it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the secret would be buying it in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of a forest, so that you've got loads of noise arrest, like naturally. Like,
Yeah, you would have to, and you'd probably have to buy crap land as well.
yeah, that's the thing as well. You'd probably have to buy the shittest land possible.
But
But yeah, no,
totally understand. Like, I would love to create a racetrack that was just mine.
yeah, like mimic all the greatest corners. So like build in the corkscrew and the fucking hell. Why is my brain not working, Tom?
That's a great question. Describe it. We'll play 20 questions.
Nurburgring, Nurburgring, iconic corners.
Oh, the
Semi
carousel.
the both the carousels, yeah.
I wouldn't
So
put both in. I think the second one's a bit shit.
well, yeah, but you'd mimic the first one and then improve the second one, wouldn't you?
Hmm.
Because it's
Do you know
yours.
what? I don't think I would just use iconic corners from other racetracks. I would probably have a go at doing it myself.
Oh yeah, like I'm not just saying like go out and carbon copy all the good bits of all the different tracks, because then you're just going to have a load of corners that don't really fit well together.
Yeah, it would be a wild adventure, wouldn't it?
It's just going to be a roller coaster at 30 mile an hour where you're like thrown from one side of the car to the other because you can't get any speed up. But like, actually have a go at designing it, but take elements of stuff that makes other tracks really legendary and drop it in. But sorry, no, I took us off track again.
No, no, that's totally fine, man. So we're just talking about Hermann Tilke, who
Yeah.
is a essentially German design engineer, and he's actually one of, I think it's four, FIA approved racetrack designers.
Wow.
I don't know. I didn't know that was a professional certification that a civil engineer could aspire to. It's wild that they
Yeah,
have four.
it is.
But anyway, so he kind of started like set up his company, and he did like kind of like a little like some small stuff in various places. I think he did some access roads for the Nürburgring and stuff like that through his racing connections, and then he got his first kind of big gig, which was to redo the what is now the Red Bull Ring, because it used to be like quite a long, like it was a classic Formula One circuit in that it had like a really really long straight with like a massive banked corner that kind of came back in itself, and then it had like a smaller, slightly more technical section around the stadium.
Right.
So what he did is he came in and he kind of like made it a much smaller footprint, and redesigned the corners and stuff like that. And honestly, I think the Red Bull Ring is fucking great. I think it's a really good racetrack. It actually still works with F1 right like currently as well, which is really nice. But I do like the track overall.
Wow. Fair
Are
enough.
you familiar with the Red Bull Ring?
I'm not actually. I'm trying to think of it, and I can't even think of seeing like a layout for it. Um,
It's yeah, it's a very modern circuit. It kind of has like almost has like a Nürburgring GP track sort of vibe to it. It's got like that kind of like professional circuit kind of vibe.
oh, okay.
But it's really good. It's like uphill to the first corner, which is like like a tight right hander, and then there's like a second, like a kind of like a straight into like large braking zone, kind of like hairpin. and then there's like a kind of more technical in section with some S's and a long a long kind of like, you know, you can take different lines around it, kind of long open left-hander, and then it's down to a couple of like rights and stuff like that. But like some of the corners are, you know, blind crested, you know, blind apexes over crests and stuff like that, and you've got like it's one of those tracks that when you get it right, you're really really fast.
But getting it right can be
But it's getting it right is
require
tough.
yeah, it can require skill and testicles in equal part and measure.
Aye, totally. I mean, I do like a track where there's time on the table if you get it right.
Yeah, like where it rewards actually pushing the envelope.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I agree. Like when it rewards a bit of bravery and a bit of chance. You know, I like those kind of tracks.
Yeah.
So that's his first gig, and he does fantastic, in my opinion. It was a really, really good redesign.
It sounds good. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll have to look it up, but like from what you're saying, like I'm buying it. Like it sounds good to me.
it's a good one. You could look up like any race around it, but also like just some in-car footage. I'm sure would show you like probably a better experience of it.
Fair enough. I will have a look.
So yeah, did a great job. He also redesigned the Fuji Speedway as well. So are you familiar with Fuji?
Yes, I am indeed.
I don't think he was responsible for the redesign that happened before the 90s, but I think he did the one that was in the 90s.
Right. Okay.
So basically just adding, if my memory serves on this one, it was just adding a lot more kind of like hairpins to the lower section. Hold on, I really need to check that. It's been such a long time since I've looked at a picture of Fuji Speedway. Yeah, totally. Adding like the kind of like kinks in at the end.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know. I know what you mean.
absolutely. Yeah. So again, I mean, I don't know what you feel about Fuji Speedway, but I was never really a massive fan of it. I could never get the hang of it. Was the problem with Fuji?
I quite like it. You know, I think Japan actually is a little bit of an unsung hero in the racetrack thing here.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because there's a lot of good tracks, man. Like Suzuka, Fiji, more that are not coming to mind right now.
There's Tsukuba,
Yep.
which I actually do quite like, even though it's like not really a car racing circuit.
And there's some absolutely fantastic smaller tracks that are not really all that well represented. Like, did you see? There's a one, I can't remember the name of it. There's one that keeps floating around on Facebook, and it's essentially this Japanese billionaire was like, I'm going to buy the side of that mountain and I'm going to carve a racetrack into it. And it looks incredible.
All right.
Like, holy fuck. This guy has fuck you money and he knows how to say fuck you. Like if I was a billionaire, I would do this shit. And it's just fantastic. It looks amazing. If I find it, I'll send it to you. I
Yeah,
can't
totally.
remember the name of it though. But it's spectacular. And there's just loads of them like that.
They've got some really nice roads as well.
Yes. The road over Fuji Mountain, not the Speedway, is supposed to be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think Suzuka's probably my favourite of all the Japanese tracks, though. There's something about Fuji I never got on with.
That's fair. Yeah.
But yes, right, sorry. Back to our man.
Yes.
So, he did some redesigns, and then he did his first kind of major overhaul with the Red Bull Ring. But then they let him go ham. And unfortunately, he developed kind of a bit of a style. And in my opinion, that style is utterly soulless. So, like, he designed Sepang International Circuit, which is which was like kind of a new circuit, if you know what I mean. And he made it really, really wide. So that circuit is 16 meters at its narrowest wide and 20 meters wide at its widest.
That's pretty wide. That's like eight Arctics wide. An
Yeah,
Arctic's
like,
like 2.5 meters.
you know the Hangar Straight in Silverstone?
Yeah,
15 meters wide.
that's a wide fucking straight as well.
So I assume they were planning on using it as a car park when they weren't racing it.
Yeah, like you could probably get 200 cars on that straight at 20 meters wide.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. And he really likes constant radius kind of curves,
Yeah,
and like that makes it seem really AutoCAD, if you know what I mean. Like you've just used the basic shape tools.
yeah, I do.
Like it's I mean, you can tell in a lot of ways he's an engineer, not a designer. Or no, because there'll be design engineers that'll be mad at me. He's like, yeah, no, fuck it. He's not a designer. He's an engineer. He thinks like an engineer. And part of me thinks that's why he did such a good job redesigning, because he's like, oh, I see what the problem is. I have these fixed parameters to work in. I'll change it this way. But then, given like a blank canvas, he's just been like, all right, well, we need to have like some slow speed corners in, and we need to have some like fast straights, and then we need some other corners, and then we have to join it up. And like a lot of these tracks were also quite flat as well.
Yeah,
So it just ends up coming across as like a little bit soulless and clinical. And Sepang International was his first, and then he went on to design Bahrain, and basically all the different corner types that he used in Sepang, he just uses again in Bahrain in a slightly different order. Adds like know that much, to be honest, and then does the same in Shanghai. Like, there's not really like that much variation. He occasionally adds a new element, like adding a corner where it opens or it has multiple apexes.
right, okay.
But there's there's the core ingredients of fast straights into hard braking zones, i.e. like hairpins, a fast, but not not like a straight line through it kind of style. S's technical section in the middle somewhere.
Yep.
And all of the corners are like, they look like someone's just been experimenting with a fillet tool on like Autodesk or AutoCAD or something.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling like, because did he design Yas Marina by any chance?
Do you know what? He did design Yas Marina. No, how did you know that?
Because everything that you're describing sounds like if I met this guy in a pub and he's like, "Oh, I designed this track and I designed this track," like, mate, you sound very German. You sound like you're going to make a very efficient racetrack that's boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Which I actually feel bad for saying because of the Nürburgring, because it's hands down the greatest track on the planet. And legitimately, I will die on that hill. It has.
I mean,
everything.
I don't think him being German makes any difference, but him being an engineer might be the problem.
Yeah, that's big. I was kind of leaning into the stereotype. You know, how many Germans does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know.
One, because they're very efficient and have no sense of humour.
All right, yeah, totally.
But I.
But yeah, he did design Yas Marina, which is just not a particularly interesting track at all. It's very dull, very lifeless, very flat.
Yeah. Do you know, I've actually turned off Forza when I've been like absolutely loving it, like playing away, thinking it's having a great time, and then it pops up as Yas Marina's the next track, and I just switched the Xbox off and went, no, I'm done. Fuck this.
Honestly, I kind of understand. It is when I'm playing a racing game that has Yas Marina, it is always the one of the worst, because I'm like, I'm just not going to enjoy doing this race.
Yeah, it's like watching paint dry. It's like loads of right trigger, off right trigger, loads of left trigger, off left trigger, loads of right trigger. Like it's just accelerate, stop, brake, stop, turn, stop, accelerate. That's it, over and over again.
Pretty much, yeah.
Um,
What I'd be quite interested in is how do you feel about the Circuit of the Americas?
oh, do you know this is really showing up where the holes in my automotive knowledge are because I'm not actually familiar with it.
Okay, okay. Just one sec. So Circuit of the Americas is in Austin,
Right.
and it will have been in Forza. It's sometimes called COTA,
Okay.
and it's the one where you launch off the start uphill into hairpin left, then back down the hill to the right into a series of kind of like varying um, radius S's. Then
Yep.
there's a straight with a kink that goes. It's like the kink's on like the crest of a hill, so you go the kink and then downhill into another hairpin left, and then it's a big long back straight. Then there's a hard braking zone on a left into a multi apex kind of corner. Oh, into a technical section, and then there's a multi apex corner. It is another Tilka kind of design, but people seem to really like it, and I'm not a massive fan of Kota.
I'm looking at the layout now, Tom. It's fucking hideous.
Yeah, like apparently drivers really enjoy this because it's quite a technically challenging one, and I mean, there's all a lot of good ingredients. There's like elevation changes. There's like, the not all of the corners have a kind of fixed kind of like radius, but I just don't find Kota particularly like fun or engaging or you know exciting.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, there's nothing particularly stand out about it.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have raced it in a racing game, which brings me on to kind of another thought I was having, and I'm curious to know what your opinion is. But does it have to be a real racing circuit for it to be iconic?
You know, I would say yes, but I think to say yes to that displays a certain level of ignorance as to how the majority of people actually interface with a racing circuit.
Mm.
Because you're not going to tell me that everyone that plays Forza and everyone that plays Gran Turismo, everyone that plays Assetto Corsa, all these racing sims. I mean, some like to be fair, Forza is more of an arcade racing sim, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of games out there. There's some really like proper sweaty try hard sims, and then there's the more cash stuff. But a lot of them have the same circuits as well.
Yeah, and like not there's no chance that 100% of those people all go to track days and all go to watch races at these places like live or on the telly even. So I think you can have an iconic track without it being real. But I would say that you have to say it's just a video game though. Like you can't talk about, I don't know, track A, for example, in the same at the same level or with the same feeling behind it as like Nürburgring or Spa or Knockhill. You know, there's a distinction to be made, but that doesn't mean it's not iconic.
Yeah, no, I actually I do totally agree with that. Like I think that I would real tracks are always more like real and visceral, but like it's kind of one of the only ways you can experience some racetracks, from like that on the ground perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because I don't have the resources to just go to Laguna Seca to watch a race.
Yeah, or to go round the track. You don't have the money to kind of buy a drive or like to facilitate that.
Precisely.
So yeah, no, I'm totally okay with that. But I was actually more thinking about like actually fictional racetracks in there, totally fictional, like Grand Valley Raceway or Speedway. I'm not really sure what the name of it was. Some of the old Gran Turismo tracks. There's like, I think Maple Valley from the Forza series is a fictional one.
Yes, and you know, it broke my heart when I learned that Maple Valley wasn't real.
It's quite an interesting track in some ways. I quite like Maple Valley.
Like Maple Valley has, if you were to design a track like for yourself, I think that would be a pretty good like because it's actually got when you think about it, it's got corners that are both on camber and off camber. It's got neutral corners. It's got S's or chicanes. It's got increasing and decreasing radius corners. It's got long straights plus elevation change, and it has like almost like a carousel sort of quality to it to the bottom hairpin at the end of the first straight. And I think it's actually a really well balanced track, despite the fact that it doesn't actually exist.
You know, I agree. I think that I really enjoy it. I like the only thing I don't particularly like is the long, wide corner, either at the start or the end, depending on how you want to, like, think about it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, I think it's really, really well balanced as well, and I really like the heavy camber. The final corner when you're coming down the hill on that, and it's like
Yeah.
that high speed kink with the elevation change is that's what I like. That's a corner that feels like it rewards a certain level of bravery.
Yes. Like you can go flat out if you don't mind like hanging off a curb.
Yeah, totally. Like, there's, if you go flat out, yes, you can go flat out along this, but you have to judge it just right. And if you don't judge it right, you go crash. And that kind of like that element of the danger to it, I think, is what can make racetracks quite iconic as well.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Like Spa, like what do you think of when you think of Spa? Well, you think of like Eau
Ludicrous.
Rouge and Radion.
Yeah.
So yeah, like which are super dangerous corners, you know.
Yeah. And to be honest, like that's what kind of all the really good tracks have. They all have that element to them. You know, there's always a bit there's I mean motorsport is inherently dangerous. Let's not beat around the bush. But all the really, really legendary tracks have some risky bits.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nürburgring, for example, is
It's
fucking lethal.
it's just a collection of risky bits.
Yeah, but then like you've got so many other tracks that have elements of that about them, and it's just they just do it really well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, like, what we've really been talking about here is just kind of all the different elements that make a great track.
Yeah,
We've heavily focused on elevation, which I do think is really important. I think that, like, ones I certainly gravitate towards are the ones where they go up and down. And, like, I love a blind crest.
oh yes. Well, I mean, even like taking it away from tracks, like even just B road driving. When you're on
Yeah.
a road you've never been on before, and you're maybe pushing on a wee bit, and you're like, there's a blind corner, and like when you go into it, your heart does a little flutter. You're like, oh, where's the road going? That's exciting, and without the elevation, you can't capture that at all.
Yeah, I mean, even at a more basic level, like, would you prefer to drive along a B road that kind of like, it undulated with the land and it twisted and it turned, or the same level of twists and turns but completely flat?
I will take option A for 200.
Yeah. I I don't know if driving some on the totally flat is. I don't like it
Well,
as much. It's not as fun.
I have some anecdotal evidence here. So, I mean, I live in the southwest of Scotland, which, feel free to disagree with me here, Tom, but I would argue the southwest of Scotland is Mecca for good driving roads.
It's certainly
So,
better than where I am now.
yeah, like there's a lot of them. I could rattle off 1, 2, 3, 10 at least right now, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Um, but I know a guy that was in the Navy. Now, he took his car down, and he was like at Plymouth down there at the training centre for the Navy guys. And he actually said to me when he came back, he's like, "It's shite in there." I was like, "How do you mean?" He's like, "There's no good roads. Like they're all flat and
Mm.
straight and just horrible." And he came back up here and he was living life, and then he went back down the road and he's like, "I might as well not take the car. I might as well take the train because there's no fun in it. Like
Aye.
it can't be that bad." He's like, "No, it is. Honestly." I was like, "Fucking hell." So there's some anecdotal, like single data point evidence to suggest that elevation does actually matter because all the roads that I would name that are good driving roads all have massive elevation changes on them.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like a start end point elevation change, but there needs to be elevation change over the course of the drive.
Yes, definitely.
Like, I'm okay going up a hill to come back down it, or vice versa. It just, it's when there's no hill at all. No thanks.
Yeah, it's when you're just driving on a narrow, straight, flat bit of road. It's not fun.
I totally agree. But like, there are other things that are super important in racetracks because, and I think this is kind of where F1 falls down a little bit. There's like speed of the track and lap length. Like,
Yeah,
we're kind of getting to the point where like laps are so short that like big numbers of laps of like the slightly older, longer racetracks aren't really taking that long. So the races are kind of getting shorter and shorter as well.
right. Yeah, because you're gonna get to a point where like your actual speed and speed that you can hold around a corner, more importantly, is almost on par with what you're doing down the straight.
Totally. And then that becomes a problem because then more and more corners are essentially just flat out corners.
Yeah, you need essentially what you're doing is removing flow. Like you're taking like it's impossible to have flow if you're the same speed all the time. Like you actually have to have a change in velocity to have flow. In my mind, anyway.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, because otherwise you could have like steering flow, I suppose, but you're not. You're just navigating a course. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's hard to articulate, but I think I do know what you mean.
yeah. Like how imagine doing 100 mile an hour on the motorway on a ring road, which has some left and right corners on it, right? Now imagine a B road with the same number of corners, but your speed is everywhere between like 120 and 30, depending upon the camber, the width, the visual, the visibility through the corner, depending upon your radius, like where your vanishing point is in relation to you in the corner when you're going through it. Like there's so much that all combines to make a good flowy track.
Absolutely, that's something I didn't think about earlier. It's sight lines. That's really important.
Yes. Because like when you said about the like a blind crest on a corner, like that's crazy. Like from like an actual how to tackle that point of view, because you have no idea where your vanishing point is until you start to crest the corner. And like
Mm-hmm.
it's entirely possible for you to crest the come over the crest of the hill and your vanishing point is just getting closer and closer and closer. Like there's nothing you can actually do. Like at that point you've overcooked it and you're going to understeer into whatever's in front of you. Hopefully a nice big gravel braking zone. But yeah, like that viewpoint, the focal view through a corner makes a big difference.
Totally, and it makes a big difference on how you have to approach the track as well. Which is why I think that sometimes like blind and unsighted corners make an interesting racetrack.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree.
So yeah, can you think of anything else that you really need to see in what a good racetrack for you?
Yeah. So, ah, overtaken is a funny one because, and the only parallel I can draw here is go kart racing, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
know when you go to the go kart track and you can have a corner which is a nice radius and everything, and there's loads and loads of room. Like you could easily get three carts running side by side round the corner, not a problem. But the layout of the track ahead of it kind of limits you to being able to go round the outside unless you've got somebody that's ridiculously slow or you're ridiculously fast. Like,
Like corners that tighten.
yeah. But then even if it's just a straight into like a hairpin, but like a short straight, where you're not really accelerating out of the corner, you're pretty much accelerating, but it's only really maintaining your speed.
Right.
And then you're instantly, like after a second or two, off the throttle and you're hard braking into a chicane or into a hairpin. Like that sort of. I don't think you can have a single corner, and I don't think you can have like preset overtaking zones. I think everything has to. It kind of goes back to flow. Like everything has to work together.
Mm.
Like you can't have like it's pointless having a massive wide corner that there's you could get 10 cars round side by side if you can only use a tenth of that width because of how you have to set yourself up going into the short straight to then hit the chicane or hit the hairpin.
Okay,
Like
I totally understand. Like you would prefer there to be multiple viable lines through like a corner complex than there being like the one optimal line.
yes, or even like a consideration. So like the corner at the end of the short straight should be really well banked because it then gives you like you can then dive into that corner where at a really short, really close to the inside, and count on the bank to pull you through to carry your speed. Or if you were coming in, if you came really tight on the corner before it, you can shoot up and go round the outside of the corner. But because of your bank, like the slower you go into the first corner, the more you can accelerate along the short straight, and you can keep accelerating right the way through the corner after it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So like if you go tight and you have to lose your speed to try and get the shortest route through the corner, then you pin it. You're not trying to then immediately shed all that speed that you've gained to try and get tight round that corner to stop someone coming up the inside. You can actually, because of the bank of the corner, carry your speed round. Like you're wanting to try and facilitate overtaking on the inside of the corner, on the outside of the corner, with a midline, like going into your braking zone and on the accelerating out of a corner. You're trying to pit people. You're trying to encourage different people to take different lines.
That's
Which,
interesting, yeah, because there's quite a few corners where there is an overtaking opportunity sometimes, but it's only on the inside. Like it won't work along the outside, and that's always disappointing.
yeah, like there's an awful lot. See, a lot of the time when you can almost see that the designer of the track or the designer of the corner wanted you to take a certain line, and they've almost predetermined that this is going to be the fastest way through.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think you should be designing in a way that makes as much of the track viable as possible.
I totally agree with that. There is lots of tracks where there is effectively dead zones because they're just not needed. Like the line is so straight there.
Yes. Do you know actually a really good example of this would be Catalunya?
Yeah, what do you like Catalonia?
I do and I don't. I think the right angled um, right, left, right at the end before it goes on the sweeping right onto the straight can be quite good fun. But see, like the actual main curve of this track, I'm assuming you know what I mean by that. Like the standout big hairpin
One
is
after the second straight.
yes, it's a beautifully big wide track, right? But because it's so flat and there's no camber anywhere, there's literally one line through it that's fast.
Mm.
Whereas if that had a bit of carousel action, like a bank on the outside, but the opposite of the carousel, so the outside was banked and the inside was flat with a really, really smooth transition, you would have people like absolutely storming down the outside on the straight to try and fly round and maybe get like two or three overtakes. And then you'd have people on the inside that are storming in, hitting the braking zone really hard, or even not hitting the braking zone really hard because they're trying to go in tight to take the shortest route through, but then also come across onto the banking to then try and stop people coming around the outside. Like it would make for such an entertaining race.
Yeah, if that long sweeping right was banked, it would mean that if you got done on the inside of the hairpin before it, you could potentially. Well, no, yeah, actually, yeah, no, I quite like the idea of that. I think that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, like that's the thing is just to make as much of the track viable as possible because you want action everywhere. Like nobody watches racing to be bored, apart from NASCAR
No,
fans.
no, it's just a side effect sometimes.
Yeah, like you want to be encouraging and fostering drivers to be not take risks, but to push. Like if there's a line round a corner that's fast, like fuck that, play with it, see what you can do. Like break even later, or even don't break at all. Just bang it down the box and let the engine braking do it, and then pitch it in and like work with the track. Like that's I think that's a big thing that's missing from a lot of tracks. You know.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Also, I have to give an honourable mention because we've been talking about really good racetracks
Mm-hmm.
to Finland, as in the whole country.
I like some of their shorter, like grass track racing tracks.
Well, I was actually thinking about rallying here, which takes us on a little bit of a departure from Formula One, but it's the fastest rally stages and also the biggest jumps, which, like, just for seeing as how we're talking about, like, having an entertaining track that engages, like, that's entertaining to
Honestly,
see.
I
Yeah,
totally agree. Like some of the videos of like Group A's getting absolutely launched off some of these large jumps, like that, the air that they dared to get. You know, when you've jumped your car like a story, when your car's like a story up, falling as the
yeah.
ground falls away. Like that's when I was younger, I never really appreciated how insane that actually is.
Yes, I know. Because like I remember watching Rally and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And now, like when you get a little bit of air going over like a humpback bridge, you're like, "Oh yes, I'm a fucking rally driver." And then you watch the videos back, you're like, "I'm really not."
Yeah, you know, these guys, these boys are mental.
Oh yeah, they're driving like they've got a fucking respawn button.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there are some very good rally tracks in the UK as well.
There are actually. There's some really good ones locally as well.
But I think we're getting slightly off the topic because, like, rally is never really a circuit.
No, it's literally a track through the woods most of the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
so
it's
we need
harder
to,
to design a good circuit because like there are a lot of ones in the UK. There's a lot of old airfields that are now circuits and stuff, and quite a few of them suffer from the being quite flat syndrome. Like,
absolutely.
where were we for Shedfest? Was that Mallory Park? I can't actually remember. Where did we go?
I believe it was Mallory. Yeah, I'll Google it now and see, but I'm pretty sure it was Mallory Park we were at.
Very flat.
It was.
I feel like the big race circuits in the UK have a bit more elevation to them. Although Silverstone's pretty flat, but Brands Hatch I like.
Yes, it was Mallory Park.
Can't believe I remembered that. That's amazing.
Yeah, man, I agree. Like, even from walking round at Shedfest, like, walking round the track, it was really cool to be walking on a racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. It's always nice. Such
But
smooth. It's always they're always well. Most of them are pretty smooth and nice as well.
yeah, that was like the fact that we're in the UK and looking at a piece of tarmac that didn't look like it was from fucking downtown Baghdad. Wow, like I didn't realize we had smooth tarmac in the
I
UK.
didn't know we could do it. I didn't know we had the technology.
Yeah, I thought there was like some like council worker making it lumpy. Like that
I,
was the design.
I thought it came out of the machine in like patchwork with like
Yeah,
pre-cut holes.
like a patchwork quilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, but yeah, like even walking around it, I was like the takeaway from that whole experience was holy fuck, this is really flat.
Yeah, I agree. It was a really flat track. I mean, the Castle Coombe's really flat too.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is like you said though, this is something a lot of UK circuits suffer from, and the only one that doesn't really, well, there's two in my mind. There's Brands Hatch, which has quite a lot of elevation change actually, um, and there's the Darling, the Scottish, the Scottish track. I'll let you do the honors.
No. Honestly, I should have started like a little clicker counter for how many times you mentioned not killing this particular episode. By
Mate,
making me say it, you've actually only managed to say it once so far.
I know that was my plan.
Serious restraint, man. Serious restraint. I think there are a few more. I think Snetterton has quite a bit of elevation, although I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Fair
But yeah,
enough.
no, I do agree. It's like that. A lot of them are like ex airfields, so they do be flat.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I love Not Kill. Like, I mean, I've just got good memories of it, to be fair. So I might be biased of like going to watch the racing and stuff, and
Mm.
like watching all the Janettas on lap one go past, and they were all pristine condition, and then they all went past me on lap two, and there was one with like the bonnet peeled up open, and it was missing a wing, and the door was open, and it was a fucking carnage. But yeah, it was just class.
Yeah, I've been around Knockhill,
Yeah,
but it wasn't me driving.
bugger.
Yeah, I remember I went to some car show that was at Knockhill years and years ago with my dad, and they were doing like laps around the track.
Oh, like passenger laps.
Yeah, passenger laps, and like to be fair, right, when I think back on this, it's kind of obvious, but like me and my dad can be kind of not great at paying attention sometimes, or just like deciding to do something and not really like thinking it through. So we were like, oh, let's get a passenger lap. There was like fucking queues for everything as well. It was like a classic festival where it's just like, people everywhere, everything's busy. But we were like looking through the list of cars, and a lot of them were just shite, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
Astra. And then someone had just wrote Chevy, and we are like, oh, maybe it's good. First mistake. So it actually, I think it was one of the early Lassettis.
Really?
Yeah. And we got driven around a lap in that, which like, the guy was pushing it, fair enough, but like it wasn't a great lap. And also because I was like just a wee kid, I was sitting in the back, so I could barely see anything. Basically, like being in the back of the car of someone who's a bit of a Raj driver. He's like kind of buffeted about a little bit, but ultimately you don't really know where you are or what's going on.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah,
that could have affected my opinion of Knockhill, but like I'm not a massive fan of that racetrack. I like it because it's like local.
I think because when the program, I need to stop calling it the channel. When the program gets its fucking own car, that's where I'm booking us on a track day, dude.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, where else are we gonna go?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a couple of small tracks like hill climbs and stuff, but yeah, that's where we're going, I'm afraid, and I think you'll love it.
Yeah, probably will. I mean, it's still a racetrack. Here's me splitting hairs, being like, "Oh, it's not my favorite." It's still a fucking racetrack. Like, I'd still not never say no.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Like, but yeah, no, I. I've managed to basically get you to say not kill every time it's came up here.
Nah, that's two now, man. Well, cool. So, yeah, that was like kind of my thoughts about racetracks. Like, I actually really love racetracks. Like, being like a kind of civil myself, or like, having done that as like a degree.
Yeah,
The idea of being like, oh wow, do you know what? Maybe if I'd actually, like stuck with civil engineering a little bit more, like seriously as like a contracting thing, maybe I could have went into designing racetracks. But bit of a pipe dream. But I think I would really enjoy that actually.
yeah, it'd be cool. Well, see when I buy my farm and I design my racetrack.
Oh man, I'll do it for free.
Cool. You're who I'm phoning.
I'll do it for free. You like jumps, yeah?
Yeah, man.
What about
Like,
jumps over the track?
now I want to race cars like round it and have the cars survive. I don't want a grass tracking experience here.
No, 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 no. We'll fully pave it. What we'll do is we'll just have a bridge section, and we'll get a crane, and we'll just lift the bridge off when we don't when we don't need it.
Fair enough. So we've got a bridge section sans the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. We actually, with physics being what it is and stuff, we might need to put like a little bit of a ramp on one side.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Right.
don't you worry. Like, pencil me in. I will be designing that racetrack.
Cool. That works for me.
Right. Well, yeah. I think that's me for this episode. Unless you've got any other things that you want to chat about.
Yes. So, at the start, I said I think I've formed a little bit of a hypothesis or a
Oh
theory.
yeah, totally.
So, a lot of these tracks, the British ones in particular, well, the UK ones in particular, um, and like Mount Panorama and Suzuka and stuff, I've watched racing at these tracks, and most of the time it's like touring type cars or time attack, a world away from Formula One.
Mm.
So, when you say that Formula One can be uninteresting on some of these circuits, but other race series is really interesting. And this isn't me attacking Formula One, by the way, because I'm just realizing that it kind of sounds like I'm shitting on it a bit. But
I mean, honestly, I think this is a very fair criticism of F1.
do you think that the regulations surrounding the cars in F1 kind of make it that way?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Next question.
Fair
Like
enough.
it's completely it's the way that these cars are now specified has made them like kind of wider and bigger and like heavier, and also there's quite a lot of dirty air issues with them, but really I think the biggest problem is the fact that they're actually quite large now. Like they be wide.
Yeah. So, I know we've spoken about this before, and like I was quite big on like there should be less regulation on Formula One, right? On the cars. Do you think that in a way there should be more? Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but the thing is, there
like
still is, because it's not like teams get to pick how big they make the F1 car. It's specified already. I just think that the actual design regulations have gone in the wrong direction.
Fair enough. So it's not really like it's not been an active decision per se. It's been a component of the design regs evolving that's made the cars too big for this.
Yeah, kind of. A lot of the design regulations are kind of responses to other things as well. So, um, a big reason why the cars got redesigned were, some safety innovations, some efficiency things, with the power unit and stuff like that. But also, a move away from um, all of the actual aero downforce being generated on top of the car, so a reintroduction of the ground effect essentially, which meant that the idea behind which was to try and improve the racing because there was less dirty air coming from the back of all the aero parts on the top of the car,
Got you.
which
Yeah,
kind of worked for a bit, but now isn't really working.
yeah. So really, like, because I get what you're saying, because like when you move to the ground effect, suddenly you want it to be a wider car so that you've got more floor pan to make more ground effect with.
Mm-hmm.
And when your cornering speeds get to a certain point, you kind of have to make them wider in order to get that stability.
Mm.
The only thing you can't really do is make them longer because, like, getting the wheelbase length actually determines quite a lot about how a car handles.
Mm-hmm.
But being wider generally is a good thing. It increases stability. But yeah, no, I'm conflicted over this now because like when we done the F1 thing, I was like, no, they should fucking deregulate it. Like if they're going to put a regulation in, they should do it like to make chaos and breed innovation.
The regulation is that everyone gets a gun and 4 bullets that they
Yeah,
can
like
use at any time during the race.
so like an example of what I mean is like they shouldn't go to like hybrid drivetrains. They should go nobody is allowed to have a conventional internal combustion engine in 3 years' time. You have to use synthetic fuels or you have to use hydrogen. Like, and just have this, what the fuck? And then in the research and the innovation and like the differences in designs would be mental because nobody would know what they're doing. It's all starting from a clean slate. Like I want that sort of chaos. Like I want it to be like the 60s and the 70s where like people were sticking big massive fans on the bottom of cars to create downforce. Like
Yeah, competing ideas and things. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
we
you're
want
you're more way more interested in the innovation side of F1.
yes. But after reading this, I actually think the regulations needed in some ways where like to make the cars narrower.
Yeah, I can't remember if the 2026 regulations do have the cars being a little bit smaller. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, no, I don't have anything against regulations at all. Like, some of the best racing series to watch are spec racing series.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, that's why F1's always kind of a bit of a weird outlier, and like, that's why I definitely think it's the problem with the historic racetracks. But it's just really it's disheartening to see, like, like the pinnacle of motorsport, self proclaimed pinnacle of motorsport, like, that basically is having to abandon, iconic historic racetracks because the cars just don't really work there anymore.
Yeah, there's a bit of a heartbreak about it, like
Like,
because it,
sorry, man, but like, if the only
no,
place that F1 cars work are in Tilka racetracks, I'm out.
fair enough. Because I mean, it gets like what you're saying there. Essentially, when it gets to the point where you're having to design a track to accommodate the racing, like it's almost like what's the point? Like it's now something that's so rigid that you have to design everything in order to do it.
Do you know what? That's a really great point. I think that encapsulates it really nicely. The racetrack shouldn't be designed for the cars.
No,
It should not. The cars should like work around the racetracks.
I'm
Definitely.
fully on board. Like there's something quite depressing about making it so. You know, like an engineer shouldn't be trying to make racing entertaining. That's what the fucking driver's job's there to do.
Yeah, you can't engineer that kind of like entertaining spontaneity.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, that's why you want a nice iconic racing venue.
Yeah,
Do
man.
you know what I meant to ask and I've totally forgot? What is your favorite part of the Nurburgring?
Oh, I don't have a favorite part, man. I love it all. Like, do you know? I love the little short straight where the actual checkered flag area is, right?
Yeah,
Into the quite sharp left hander, and then all the S's. I love that. And then
yeah,
where it straightens out and it goes over the little bridge, and
yeah.
if you pin it and you're flat out, you leave the ground, and then immediately as soon as you hit the deck, you have to be hard on the brakes to get round the next right hander. I love
Because
that.
it's a crest into a right kink. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Like it's total like because I don't believe it was designed for that, but it's almost perfect in that as soon as you start, as soon as you land, hard on the brakes, you can make it around the corner. Like it just lends itself so nicely to absolute balls out driving.
Mm. My favorite part is post the first carousel. You go around
Yes.
the first carousel, you climb the hill a tiny little bit, and then you curve around to the right, and then basically you're on down the hill, like
Yep.
back of the track down the hill. That section just see if you can get that right. It flows beautifully, and you're kept so busy, just like sweeping from one apex to the next. It's just such a great feeling part of the track.
I agree. And actually, I have got a favourite part in the Nürburgring. So you know the massive uphill section
Mm-hmm.
on the way to the first carousel,
Mm-hmm.
where it feels like you're climbing for miles,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you come out of the really really low chicane, so it's like a hairpin left, and then you've got a turn right, a turn left, and then you start climbing up.
Yeah.
So rewind back from there to the top of the hill when you start first putting going nose down the hill, and it's almost like flat out all the way until you get to the right hooker that brings you down, and you go around this right hander. It's like an almost a 90-degree right, and you keep going, and you're almost on the brakes all the way down into it, and you're braking down into that sharp low corner where it's
Mm-hmm.
like a hairpin back on yourself. That section there is my favourite, actually.
Yeah,
Now
that's
that I
quite
think
good. I like that bit too. It's a really good track. It's got a lot of nice sections.
yes, like see if you were to break the Nurburgring up and like have an event where it's like we're going to time you between this part, and then you're going to drive normally to the next stage, and then there's got to be another stage where it's like you go from here around the carousel at the top of the hill, then it stops timing you. Like, and you were just doing checkpoints. That would be a fan. Even that would be fantastic fun on the Nurburgring, man.
Mm. I agree. Yeah, that sounds like good fun, like a little time attack on certain sections.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, I don't think there's a certain there's. I don't think there's any part of the Nurburgring I don't like, apart from the GP track. I'm not too hot on that, but
I like the GP track as well. Yeah, I think it's good. I actually like the GP track.
fair enough,
It's got
dude.
some really, really good corners.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because see, like when on Forza, when you do the Nurburgring full, where it's the ring and the GP circuit melded together, that is actually quite good fun.
Yeah, they're they're definitely different tracks. Definitely very different tracks.
Yeah, there's a definite flavour, and the flavour changes when you go from one to the other. But I do think the ring, as in the traditional Nurburgring, the Nordschleife, is just absolute perfection. Like for me, that's Mecca. Like that is a car holiday for me. Like
It's
I
so
could drive.
decadent as a racetrack as well.
Yeah,
Because it's what,
def-
13 miles?
yeah, like it's massive, like it's huge.
Trip to the shop's worth of driving on a racetrack.
Yeah, like I mean, you're not getting more than 10 laps out of a tank.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. No, man, I absolutely, I love it. I love the idea of it. I love the nature of it. I love the history behind it, and it's definitely bucket list material for me. Like, it has to
Yeah.
happen.
It's something that I think is probably needed to be done sooner rather than later as well, because like every year there's, like there's a new kind of restriction being threatened, or it's in more financial trouble.
Yeah, it's problematic like that.
Yeah, I mean
So it
it's
is.
already, I think, quite difficult to get your car insured for track day. I assume there'll still be places to do it though.
Yeah, the trick is buy something you don't care about.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no. Um, on the subject of Nurburgring as well, have you seen the crash?
The one
So
between the Porsche and the BMW.
no, there's been another one. So there was a coolant leak, right? And it caused a legitimate pile up. Like there's a video of this guy coming around the corner at absolute Mach 10. He's like, yes, living my best life. And then it's like,
Oh no,
fuck. There's all these cars just everywhere. They're on the grass, they're in the barriers, they're all across the road.
there's
And he
nowhere
just,
to go on most of the circuit as well.
honestly, man, it's heartbreaking watching this video because, like, you see him absolutely nailing the brakes and then it just locks up.
Oh no.
And you're like, oh man, I feel your fucking pain right now. And he just slides into this. I don't know what it is. I think it's a Honda that he hits. He just bang. That's it.
So was it on
Fucking
a
video.
tourist lap?
It was on a tourist lap, so it was on the ring road, sort
Oh
of,
no.
and there was a coolant leak that caused it to be really slippy, and this caused a pile up. But the big um, controversy over it is there was no yellow or red flags.
Oh really? So was it too early for them to notice the accident? It just not
Well,
been.
I mean, they had like 10 cars all piled up, like
Yeah.
wild. Um, so like the a lot of people were saying like, well, Nurburgring should be fucking liable for this because there's no flags. And I'm like, well, you went racing, you know. There's you kind of acknowledge that there's a risk that your car might not be in one piece trying to get to the end of this lap if you're doing it right, you know.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you're not meant to race when it's the tourist lap. To be fair.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be going balls out. But would you be not going balls out on a tourist lap? Like, if you go once and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get back here, so it doesn't matter if I get banned, you'd fucking send it. You know?
Black flagged immediately.
Yeah, like fuck your black flag. I'm not coming back. Like I'm got to keep sending it until I get to the finish line. Like go.
That's absolutely brash right now.
I know it's horrible.
Oh no, that's not okay. That's quite a lot of Porsches.
I know there's a lot of money there lying in pieces.
That is a big sad. Oh, yeah, you can see where he hits the oil slick as well, because all of a sudden he's just going sideways and he's doing the hands.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's soul destroying to watch. It's so fucking horrible.
That's brutal.
But yeah, we big feels for whoever was involved in that. But yeah, it kind of sucks. I hope everyone is insured. And although I believe there is an admission of risk when you go to do a thing like that, I do hope, since there was no flags or anything, Nürburgring will do something to make it right.
There's way too many cars
For it not
there.
to.
There's a lot of cars on that road. The whole thing's. I mean, maybe it was like all of them were involved in the accident.
Yeah, well, I mean, every car has damage on it. like every one of them.
Yeah, but then that could have been an accident that people have then subsequently driven into because of the that. There's definitely something on the track there. There's no
Yeah,
way
no,
that Honda was going like hard enough for it to be have its own moment like that.
yeah. Well, it was confirmed that it was a coolant leak, I believe, or that's what I read. I mean, it was confirmed that there was a spill on the track and it was coolant, and that's what's caused the slippy conditions. So that's what that wee S660 slides on is coolant on the track,
Mm-hmm.
which it's really sad. It's saddening.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that is gutting.
but no, that's all I've got to add really. I've really enjoyed this, dude. This has been a good episode. I've really fucking enjoyed talking about this.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, racing circuits are. I think I'm doubly passionate about them because I love cars, but I'm also quite, I've got that background in moving mud about and then laying concrete and tarmac on top of it.
You know, I can get that. Like, I imagine like the actual act of building one or designing one would be really fucking quite a fulfilling thing. Um,
Yeah.
like it'd be really nice to go through. Definitely.
Yeah, but I bet that would be some kind of project. So awesome. So yeah, when you become a billionaire, do hit me up. I will be designing that racetrack.
Smashing.
Cool, and I think with that, let's end. I hope you enjoyed listening to this. I mean, I don't know if we've imparted any wisdom, but like we have talked about something we both are quite passionate about. So, hope you enjoyed. If you like what you heard, feel free to give us a subscribe, give us a like, leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. That's everything from me. Bye.
And everything from me. Toodaloo.